Hello, Alicia Medlin here with 5 Elements of Wholeness, and I'm so excited. We have an amazing mastermind today with my good friend Lauree Sundahl. She is going to talk today about faith in every footstep. So we're excited about that and how that's going to show up in our business. And Lauree, do you want to go ahead and just share a little bit about yourself?
I'm Lauree Sundahl, and I've been working with Alicia since 2017. We've done a lot of family work, some business work. We've been doing just a ton of work, even with disabled stuff. And I love the things that Alicia teaches, and I just wanted to be able to re-emphasize some of those things today in this mastermind.
Awesome. Well, would you go ahead and introduce your topic of what you want to talk about today and why that's important in business?
What I'm really interested in today is talking about our trials. So while this is being recorded, it's the Christmas season. And sometimes in the Christmas season, it's easier to get down because there are still trials, even though it appears that the world is in a state of joy. And so today I really wanted to talk and work on faith in every footstep. So really being thankful in our trials. So we're commanded that every single one of that we're to be thankful in all things, and in none does Lord offended except for those who are not thankful. And so there was a time where I used to think that being thankful was only about those things that I was really thankful for. And so I would be thankful and I would tell God, I'm thankful for these. I didn't want to offend him. I wanted to be able to be close to him. I wanted his spirit to be with me. And then I looked at it, and one time I heard Mr. Eyring talking, and he said, even in our trials, and I thought to myself, how thankful am I for my trials? But in preparation for this topic today, I was actually looking at some of those faith in every footsteps, and they had a lot of pictures of pioneers pulling carts and, a sick child in bed and some of those things. And I thought, how interesting. Every single movie that you see has something about a trial they have and how they overcome that, whether it's a battle, whether it's a football team that was down and out, whether it was an abject poverty and how they made it out of it, like all of those things. And I really thought about it, and I thought, how thankful am I for the trials I've had in my life, in my family, in my body, in my mind. How thankful am I for those kind of experiences? So that's what I wanted to talk about today.
I love that, especially now because you have a really big trial that you're going through right now that has created some difficulties in your life. Do you want to explain how you're able to step into thankfulness and gratitude despite what's happening to you in this current time in your life?
I didn't expect that question from you, but I will say that there was a lot of other trials going on. And then what happened is I started to lose my eyesight. And it pretty much got to the point where I realized I'm not going to be able to do my current profession anymore. I'm not able to drive anymore. The profession I was in at the time, I wasn't able to drive anymore. And boy, it started to affect my relationships. And I really was like, how am I going to function without eyesight? How am I going to do that? And the Lord inspired me to call Alicia Medlin. And boy, without that trial, I probably wouldn't have reached out as much. Alicia was really good about following up with me every about 2 or 3 months or every 6 months, just to find out where I'm at, because we had worked together previously. And then some trials in my life came up, and I was like, I got to step out of business for a bit. And the Lord, when my eyesight started to go, I started to say, what am I going to do? And the Lord said, call Alicia. And I was like, Alicia, she's business coach. She's like, she doesn't do the kind of coaching I'm thinking. I mean, like, how is she going to help me with my eyes? Right. She's obviously not a doctor. She's not like, but without that trial, I probably wouldn't have reached out to her. And this last year has been an amazing ride with her. I had someone ask me yesterday, how are your eyes going? Are they getting any better or any worse? And I said, no, it's getting worse. And she said, how are you dealing with that in your life? And I said, it's because I've hired a coach. I said, without that coach, I'd be a mess. And despite the mess it's made of my life, my career, my ability to connect with people in the same manner, through your coaching, I've been able to go, I still have value and I still have worth. And there's still a part of me that can connect with the world. There's a part of me that still can add value to the world. And without that coaching, I don't think I'd be doing very well at all. And so I think I've grown in the last year to realize that even though that trial is there, it's not a big deal. It's really not a big deal because there's still value. And without that, I wouldn't have reached out to you the same way. I would have stayed in my little old shell and said, I am fine being an introvert. I am fine living in the middle of Montana, in the middle of nowhere, and I can deal with life, just be complacent.
Mm-hmm.
And this has really had me stretch and grow. So that's my first thing is I just want to say, thank you, Alicia. Without your coaching this last year, I probably would be rocking back and forth in a corner, feeling sorry for myself.
It's been a pleasure. And, the thing is that when we choose in, and what I mean by choosing in is when we choose to start seeing our value and our worth, despite or in spite of what we're going through, it doesn't change who we are. It doesn't change your mission and purpose just because you're going through trials and tribulations and heartaches and sorrows. And I mean, this experience for you has created a lot of grief, and it has been a big deal. So I want everybody to understand that this is a big deal. But I think what Lauree is trying to say is that it's not paralyzing to her anymore. It's not something she can navigate anymore. Where before she was paralyzed, before she was like, I have to deal with this. I don't have a choice. And so when you're in that space of no choice, you go inward and you hide. And it's really hard to step into gratitude. It's really hard to be thankful. It's really hard to want to even be with people or socialize with people.
That's
and so when you can navigate through a trial and a tribulation, especially where you're losing your eyesight, I mean, that's a lot of your independence. That's a lot of your freedom that is gone overnight, literally. But it doesn't mean that changes who you are. And it doesn't mean that it changes your mission and purpose. And it doesn't mean that you don't have value and immense amounts of ability to influence and change people's lives. And that's what I love about Lauree is she's able to come in and go, all right, this really, really, really sucks. And I hate this, but I'm willing to look at it and I'm willing to clean it up because I know that I have more. I have more to offer. And that's why I have her on this mastermind, because she has such a value to offer all of you. And she has so many things in the works right now, and it's just exciting to see her coming out of that shell of I can't do anything because I can't see, to I can do anything despite the fact that I can't see, because she has huge amounts of resources and she has people around her that will support her and love her and help her in any way possible. And if she doesn't, Heavenly Father brings those resources to her. I've seen it happen time and time again. And so when we choose into rare faith, which I'm going to just change faith to rare faith in this case, because when you activate rare faith, that means that you're willing to submit and let go of all of the results, the end results, no matter how much you want it, right? Because Lauree, you want to see, you want to be able to see again.
Oh yeah.
But you're at the space now where you're like, even if I never see again, it's not going to change my mission and my purpose. It's not going to change who I am. It's not going to change my identity because I know who I am. And I know that God has a mission and a purpose for me. And he will equip you with all the resources to help you accomplish that mission and purpose. So that's what it is. It's rare faith that she has activated and taking a footstep, a step in every a step forward in every part of her life and her journey that has just grown the capacity to have that rare faith that she's been so good at activating.
I was at the point in my life when you took over, and I mean you take over just because you were sent into my life for me to realize I still had value. But I was at the point in my life where I was like, oh, I've been through so many trials. I'm going to be able to, really like add to the world now. And then to have my sight go, I'm like, I need somebody to go grocery shopping with me. I was like, wow, like what can I add? And I think that your trials in your life have been the thing that's inspired me to go, oh, I can still do this. Like looking at pictures of you from before, and like you took on your mission and purpose, and looking at the trials you go through every day just makes me laugh. Like today, it does. Today I couldn't open the door because it's frozen shut, our outside door. And I'm like, oh, that happened before. We had to call somebody to help us open the door. It's almost Christmas. And I'm talking to you and you're like, I have a foot of snow. I'm like, oh, I only have 2 inches. Good. But it's like now I can laugh at those things. But I think another thing is it's fellowship. The fellowship that you and other people have offered in my life. I realize
it's the tribe that you have is what's going to rise you up to that next level of progression and growth that you need to get to that mission and purpose, to fulfill your mission and purpose.
So why is it, Alicia, like what you said, I was retracting, I was retracting inside myself when the Lord said to reach out to you. And I was pretty much systematically cutting off people just by not involving them back in my life again. Why is it that we kind of go inside and push people away when our biggest trials hit us? Do you have any ideas on that?
Well, this has actually happened to me recently. And I think the reason why is because the adversary wants you to be alone. If you can be alone, then you have the least amount of power. Yeah. And it reminds me of a scene in Harry Potter where he's talking to, oh man, I forgot her name. The blonde haired girl that's like, she's just a strange gal. Anyway, and he's like, why is this happening? Why is this so hard? And she said, I would expect that Baltimore wants you to be alone, because if you're alone and feel alone, then you have the least amount of power, and then he can overtake you. And it's so true. I mean, it's human nature to want to retract because we feel so insecure. And we don't feel safe and we don't feel protected. And so we think we have to go inward to feel protected and safe, where really the safety is in numbers, but it has to be the right amount of numbers. It can't just be somebody who's going to keep abusing you, or, a situation where it's going to be even worse. It gets to be people that can create a safety net around you as they support you and lift you up through your trials, rather than, punch you down into even more darkness in your trials.
And I think that's where you've also helped me many of my relationships have changed this year because of how you've taught me to interact with them differently. And so instead of an adversarial role, many of those have become support, like you said. Like a year ago, when my eyesight was going, or pretty rapidly going downhill, because I've had glasses since I was 5. So that yeah, a year ago, I would say I didn't have many resources. You know, you said I have a bunch of resources, and then I thought, man, I really do, because you've helped me see those. But a year ago, I would have told you, I have nothing. I'm on my own. My career's gone. My ability to move around the world and associate with people are gone. My ability to support myself, my ability to take care of myself. I can't see the oven numbers. I have to have stickers on the microwave to be able to even operate that. Like, I don't have resources. And somehow in this last year, you have made it so I feel like, honestly, the sky is the limit. And so, and I've been able to start recreating those, and not recreating, but reviving those other people in my life that are supportive. And those that aren't, you know, they have dropped by the wayside. But somehow you've helped my mind get to the place where I say, I do have an abundance of resources. So how have you done that?
Well, and just a second, my headsets are hurting my ear because I just realized I have them on the wrong side. So like my ears are hurting. Okay, that's so much better.
First world problem.
Okay, so one of the things that I think a lot of us do, and I do this too, is that we get stuck in a box. We put ourselves in a box and we get stuck, and then it feels like we're being suffocated by all the things that are going wrong. And really, the reality is that when we think all the things are going wrong, we have anywhere from double to triple to quadruple the things going right. But we have been socially trained to see the negative in everything. I mean, it's in commercials, it's at school, it's in every aspect of our life. We have been trained to see what's not working. And the fact of the matter is okay, maybe there are things that aren't working, but there's a whole lot more that is working. And what we focus on grows. So if we're focusing on the negative, we're focusing on what we don't have or what's not working, we're literally going to create more of what we're focused on, because we're in a box. And when we're in that box and we just keep touching, I'm going to refer back to Harry Potter again because I love that show. But when Harry Potter's in Baltimore's chamber, in his vault, and he touches the crystalline, and it keeps doubling, and it keeps doubling, and it keeps doubling, and it makes more and more and more and more every time he touches it. It's the same concept. When we're in the negative, we keep touching on that, and we keep thinking about it, we keep dwelling on it, and we're like, that's all we're talking about, and that's all we can think about. We're dreaming about all the negative. We're literally creating more and more and more negative. And so then it feels like our whole world is nothing but negative. But when we can look at one thing, all it takes is just one thing that is working for you, which there will be, there always is. There's always at least one thing that you can see that's working for you. I'm going to give you an example. When I was married to my previous husband, and I was in so much depression, like I almost tried to commit suicide, and I had a dream, and it, that's a long story, but
no, you tried to commit suicide, honey.
It didn't change anything. And it didn't change my life. Like after the dream, nothing changed. Like my whole world didn't change. And I still had the feelings. And so I would be like, what do I do? I mean, I know now that I have a mission and purpose, but I don't feel any different. Right. And I remember the small voice in my head going, find something to be grateful for. And I'm like, there's nothing to be grateful for right now. And I remember hearing, be thankful that you can see and that you can blink, like your eyes can blink. And I started blinking. I was like, oh yeah, okay, I can do that. I can be grateful for blinking my eyes. And I remember sitting on the edge of the bed going like this, like, yeah, I'm thankful I can blink. And like, I mean, it's so silly, but I was just like, boop, 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 boop.
Right.
At the moment, that's all that I could see that was working. Like, really, that's what was working. Now, that wasn't reality. There's a way more that was working for me, but I couldn't see it. And so the one thing that I could see is that my eyes could blink. And then the next day it was like, oh, I can smell. I can smell things. Okay, I'm grateful for my eyes. I'm grateful for my nose. And then it was hearing. Oh, I can hear things. And then pretty soon it went from internally things, on my body that I was grateful for to externally. Like, oh, I can be grateful for my kids. Oh, I can be grateful that I have a roof over my head. Oh, I am grateful I have a vehicle. Oh, I'm grateful I have a job. Oh, and then it became bigger. And the bigger it got, the more I could see.
And I think that's how you helped me change some of those relationships too, that are now extremely supportive. Is I was looking at all the frustrating things in those relationships and past hurts that were
Yeah.
really deep, like really deep.
And they were real. It wasn't
Oh,
that they
they're
weren't
real.
real.
They're real.
Yeah.
And I live with two of them right now that used to be people that I had to protect myself from. And I'm not saying everybody's in that place, because I've been in some relationships I did have to cut off. But somehow that gratitude that you taught me to start focusing on, but I have to tell you, the first thing, and I know that you'll support this one, is my faith in Christ. My ability to believe in the atonement.
Yes.
My ability to know that I have a heavenly Father that is by my side, that will listen to me 100% of the time. There's not a time he doesn't understand me. There's not a time that he and Jesus Christ don't understand the pains and the frustration and the hurt and the heartache and the sorrow that I have been through, even in those relationships. And right now, those relationships are some of the dearest relationships I have, which I think is amazing that relationships can change. Like, I don't even know how that's possible, but I think it does follow what you're saying about when I focus on the positive, when I focus on, and sometimes I want to go, yeah, but there's such big negative.
Uh-oh, you muted yourself, Lauree. You're muted.
And so the relationship doesn't happen.
Well, and the thing is you can't change somebody else. You can only change you. And when you change you, then that gives the opportunity for other people to choose to change too. And if they don't, then they'll most likely fall off your plate. If they do, then your relationship can heal and grow and become better because you started. You get to change you first.
Yeah, and they have changed as a result of me changing. So I have another appointment I have to run to.
Well, before we let you go, I want you to tie this back down. Why is this important to business?
Oh my gosh, it has everything to do with business. That's my favorite topic in the whole world, is business. Business started to be my favorite thing in the whole world, I think, since Christ has come, but both of those fit together so well. Oh man, that's what I had my whole speech planned for today, is the trials I've had in business have helped me grow so much. And the funny thing is, the trials I've had in business have helped me connect back to God. Without business in my life, I honestly would not have a testimony of Jesus Christ or God, which I think, some people are probably on this program today going, what is she talking about? But that's where we have that whole series and that whole seminar coming up. Yep. So, boy, Christ in business is just absolutely phenomenal. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to connect with you on that level is, I mean, we could talk for hours and hours and hours about the trials I've had in business and how that's helped me have a faith in Jesus Christ. And then doubling back, how that faith in Jesus Christ has helped me to grow business.
Mm-hmm.
And that faith in Jesus Christ has helped me overcome the eyesight.
Right.
But that all started with business. That all started with the trials I've had in business to go, like, I am out of resources. What do I do? Right. And then hit my knees and go, God, you have got to help me through this trial. And we could go through countless amounts. But I think that faith in every footstep is the thing that helps you grow any business. I don't care if you're IPO, I don't care if you're, no matter what you are, your career, no matter if you are just starting a business, it takes faith. It takes trials, not that you want the trials, but it takes the successes. And how do I grow from this success? And how do I grow from this place? Every single one of those has faith involved in it. Just the fact that you put one leg in front of the other every single day, just the fact that you get out of bed takes faith. And it's no different in business. In business,
so true.
For you to start, for you to move on, for you to learn a new trade, for you to learn a new skill, for you to learn, how do I hire people? How do I fire people? How do I
navigate people?
Navigate people, right? Yeah.
Yep. So true. And I love that you brought that back into business, because it really is important, because the things that you're struggling in your personal life, I guarantee is a reflection of what's going on in your business, and vice versa. If you're struggling in your business, I guarantee is what you're struggling in your personal life. They go hand in hand, and we try to separate it so many times. And when we do that, we create so much distortion and lies and facades in our lives. And so if you guys are ever in a place in your life where you are looking for a way to increase your revenue, increase your profits in your business, and you want to get to that next level, but you don't know what's in the way, I highly suggest that you get a hold of Lauree. She is an amazing woman. She does such a great job at mentoring and teaching and helping you see what you can't see so that you can get to that next level. And how did they get a hold of you, Lauree?
My best way to get a hold of me is at 801-603-8080. That's 801-603-8080. You can get a hold of me on email, but of course, sometimes that's a little challenging, but I do check those. And that is at sunny.laughing.wisdom@gmail.com. And I'm currently going through a transition in my coaching, so that I'm transitioning out of personal coaching and into small business, means anything 2.5 million or under. That's my focus right now, is really on business. I love that, because it's so much less emotional to navigate through a business than it is through family relationships, personal relationships, and those things. But what I found is the things that I've learned in business, exactly what you said, that reflects back into my family, into my personal relationships, and then they just start to move smoother without even really having to focus on it.
That's so true. And if you want to, you can get a hold of me, and I will connect you to Lauree as well. So, all right, Lauree, well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come and share your amazing wisdom and just your experience with everybody. I'm sure it's inspired so many people. So thank you again, and have a Merry Christmas, everybody. We thank you so much for joining us today.
Love you. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.